La 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 la. Do you like the sound of your own voice? Great question. If your voice was a GPS voice telling people directions, how to get to places, would you like to listen to that sound? And it's a complicated question because a lot of people say, I don't like the sound of my own voice, but we've got voicemail, we've got YouTube videos, we've got professional speaking, you might have to talk at your school or your church or at your job. What if you don't like the sound of your own voice? Can you change it? And of course the answer is no, because that's your voice. But can we change our voice intonation? Can we change our tone? Can we change the way we sound from a negative person to a positive person? And that's one of the things that I always talk about, because if you sound like a whiner because you're always whinging and whining, would you like some cheese with that wine is a question that I always ask. But you can hear it in somebody's voice, can't you? If you're a whiny person, you have a whiny voice. If you're a positive, happy person, is it possible that even if you don't like the sound of your own voice, you'll still come across as positive? And the behavioural scientists will share with us that communication comes in 3 different forms. Obviously, our actual words that we say, which is a very small percentage. Some behavioural scientists will share it's only about 5% of what we say is our words. The challenge with that, of course, is that we live in a world now where we don't even talk much, we just use words. So an email or text messages or social media posts. So people can't even hear the second part, which is your voice intonation or your body language or your facial expression. So that's the second part of communication. But the third part of communication is your ethos. I call it your sparkly bits, who you really are. And the obvious part of that is, I'm sure you've met people where they haven't sounded their words haven't sounded great, their words haven't been that great, but you've still really liked them because they're a nice person. Most of what we communicate doesn't come from our words or our facial expressions or our body language or our voice intonation. It comes from who we really are. So I'll share again, if you're a whingy, whiny, moany, complaining kind of a person, even if you use great words, and even if you use great body language and voice intonation, you'll still come across as a whiny person because that's who you really are. If you're a nasty, negative person, you can say nice things with nice words, but it still doesn't come across right. I'll use that example again. Have you ever met somebody that says the right words and they say it in the right way, but you walk away and you go, no, don't trust them, I don't like them. There was something about that person that I just don't like or I don't trust. Because more than 50% of our communication comes from our sparkly bits, from our ethos, who we really are on the inside. So I'm sharing that because I coach people every day in business, and in business you often have to use your voice, whether it's the way you answer the phone or you talk to somebody on the phone or you make a video or you have to stand up and talk to your team or you have to talk to your customers or clients. So rather than focus on using the right words and using, where shall I stand and what voice intonation should I have and what kind of body language should I have, focus on who you really are. And if you're a nasty, negative, horrible person, it's probably a good idea not to say anything, because it doesn't matter what words you use and it doesn't matter how you say stuff, you're still going to come across as a yucky person. But if you're a really nice person, you're doing this for the right reasons. And that's why I always, in business, because I coach people again every day in business, if you're in business to make money, that will come across through your sparkly bits, through your ethos. Doesn't matter what you say and how you say it. If you're only doing this because you want to take money off people, your business is not going to be successful. The successful businesses are the people who would do it for free. And they're the 3 things I always ask. If you're going to go into business or you're going to go into a career or you're going to do anything, would you do it for free? And if the answer is no, that means you're only doing it for the money or you're only doing it for the fame or the fortune or the fans, then it's going to come across that way. I'm sure you've watched YouTube videos. People say to me all the time, Rowie, you do YouTube every day, but you don't use a script and you don't do any editing. No, I don't, because this is all coming from my heart. I want to live in a world where people are the real deal. I don't care what words you use and I don't care what voice intonation you have or what body language you use. I want to know that you're doing this for the right reasons. And the beautiful thing about the human body is it will tell that message without you even thinking about it. You can say whatever you want and say it in a way that you think is going to impress people. But if you're not coming from the right place, it's not only not going to be impressive, it's going to be ugly and awful. So if you're going to use your voice for GPS, then the only way for that to be effective is if you're really excited about sharing with people how to get to their destination. If you're going to stand up and talk about a product or service, the only way that's going to work effectively is if you are really proud of that product or service and you would give it to people for free, or you would, you want your family or friends to use it, or you use it yourself. I'm sure you've seen that and I'm bombarded with this on social media every day. People send me stuff, what do you think of this product? But the person that's selling the product is being paid to sell the product. I always ask, I wonder if they use it. I wonder if they'd give it to their mum or their grandma to use. I wonder if they would promote it for free. And if the answer's no, I don't want anything to do with it because it means it's just an ad. It's one of the things I don't like about ads on television, which is why I don't watch television, why I don't have any I don't listen to the radio, and I don't have any ads on any of my social media. Because ads are fake. They're people getting paid to sell you a product, not because they love it, not because they're proud of it, not because they use it themselves, but because they're getting paid to use it. And you only have to use your common sense and logic to understand that. So there's a classic example. Somebody that's doing an ad for television, doesn't matter, their words are going to be brilliant because somebody wrote the words for them. Their facial expressions, body language and voice intonation is going to be awesome because that's why they're getting paid to do it, because they're obviously really good at all that stuff. But it's not going to come across as effective because they're doing it for the wrong reason. They're just doing it for the money. Now, if you understand that and you're looking for a great product or service and you say, well, I don't care what the person says, I just want the great product or service, well, then you've got to go and research the product or service, don't you? Not listen to a social media influencer or not listen to somebody that's doing an ad on television. I'm sharing all of this because I'd like to live in a world, again, where people are real, where people are expressing themselves because that's who they are, not because they're getting paid to do that or because they're trying to be impressive or they want people to like them. That comes across very, very simply. And there's a lot of social media people now who don't care what people think of them, and they tend to be now the ones that are the most popular because they're just telling the truth. They're not trying to impress people. They're not trying to get fans. They're not trying to get subscribers. They're just trying to make the world a better place. And isn't it interesting that that seems to be working? That we're finally, maybe, hopefully, the world is starting to realise that we need the truth. We don't want people BSing us on a day-to-day basis. So if you want to get your message across effectively, it doesn't matter what your voice sounds like, doesn't matter what words you use, as long as you're coming from the right place. But the reverse of that, isn't it interesting? If you're coming from the right place, is it possible that your voice intonation, your body language and your facial expressions will be awesome because you're coming from the right place, and you're more likely to use great words because you're coming from the right place. So do what's going to make you happy, do what's real, do what's going to add value to the world, and is it possible that doesn't matter what you look like or what you sound like or what words you use, you'll still be able to get your message across. And isn't that awesome? Because then you could live your life to the max, doing it your way, living your integrity and being the real you, not pretending to be somebody else. Could that be impressive? Live your life to the max. Super-duper-doo, how are you? Living my life to the max. Woohoo!